Hello and welcome back to the Cookston Crafts podcast. I'm Claire and I run Cookston Crafts from my home in Aberdeenshire. I produce hand-dyed yarn and I also teach craft classes. This is episode 4, so I'm still relatively new to this, but I love to share my passion for all things crafty, and a podcast is just a brilliant way to do that. Thank you to everyone who's mentioned that they enjoy watching the podcast. It's still a little bit cringe at the moment, but thank you nonetheless, and it's given me the motivation to keep going with it. So today I'm going to share with you some of the crafty projects that I've been working on over the last month or so and what I've been getting up to. So it's been a little bit of a strange time because the website is down at the moment. I don't have any products available on the website, and I hope to have everything set up again by the summertime. I'm being really vague. It's all to do with the financial structure of the business, and I really want to keep it manageable. And I want to work this business around my family. It was the whole reason for setting it up. So I don't want to take that leap. So I'm taking a bit of a break just now, and then I can get back to it again come summertime. But there's been lots going on behind the scenes nonetheless. I'll share with you some of the things that I've been working on. So one of the big things since the last time we spoke is that I attended Yorkshire Yarn Fest down in York. It's run by Sophie at Botanical Yarns, and it was such a fun show. It was really, really lovely. It was nice to be in person. So the Yorkshire Yarn Fest I think it was actually set up pre-pandemic as a physical show, and then the pandemic hit, and Sophie very cleverly turned it into a virtual event, which I'm not going to lie was a bit of a lifeline to a lot of our businesses, and I'm really grateful to her for that and allowing us to be able to connect with other customers and share some projects and some of the new yarns that we have had. It's been invaluable, and when Sophie asked if I wanted to come to the physical show, I was like, yeah, definitely. It was just really nice to meet people in person and physically see, other garments and shawls. And I'm a chatter. I'll talk to anyone, as you can probably tell, but it's nice to be able to do that without coming across as a little bit strange. So I love to be able to say, oh, I love that dress you're wearing. And then the person goes, I made it. It's lovely to be with like-minded people who love to create. And I saw some beautiful pattern designs when we were down there. And you just get, the inspiration is infectious. You just love to see nice, pretty yarn and crafty projects. One of the projects that I took down with me was this new shawl design. I'm just going to dive right into the first project because I've got quite a lot to share with you today. So this is the Shoormil shawl by Liz Corke, and I did chat about it in the last podcast episode, but I wasn't able to share the image because it was just released at the end of May. So this was a test knit that I did for Liz. We collaborated to put some kits together, and I think it's stunning. I think it's beautiful. So Shoormil, the name of the shawl, means where the tide hits the land, and I think Liz has interpreted that really, really well with these wave kind of stitches. And then the colourways that I used were Huga and After the Storm, and I think it just looks like the waves hitting a pebbly beach. Liz's combination was sand for this section, which is a really pretty textured slipped stitch effect. And then Liz used Isle of Lewis colourway, which was beautiful. It's a bit more turquoise than this blue. So I took some kits with me for the launch of that pattern. And this is the yarn base. So this is the Huga colourway that I used. I'll show it on this because it just shows up better on camera. So this is called Bellini, and it's a beautiful drapey yarn that's got a single ply. So you get that lovely stitch definition through these textured stitches, but it also drapes beautifully too. These are 115 grams, so they're a little bit more than a normal skein, and you get 460 metres in them too. So these were available on the website as kits, and I let people mix and match to see which colourways they would like to put together. One in particular that was really popular was this combo that was Cherry Blossom, which is just a really delicate pale green and pink, with then these pops of pink and yellow speckles, along with this one, Armeria. So this one, I really just dyed it to have a nice coordinating set to go with Cherry Blossom. However, I took them to our local beach, Cookston Beach, to take some photographs, and there were some beautiful pink flowers by the beach. I'm rubbish with the names of flowers, so I had to Google it, but they're called Armeria, and it was just the perfect shade of pink. So those kits went on the website for a really short, brief period of time, and I apologise for that. I have felt a little bit uncomfortable with the whole sharing pretty pictures of yarn and then not being able to satisfy that urge that people get to go, oh, I really need that. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to sell any more of them at the moment, but once the website gets back up and running as normal in the summertime, then I'll have that yarn base available then. So bear with me. I hope that's okay. Anyway, this one I took to Balmedy Beach, one of the other beaches that is on the Aberdeenshire coast, and it was so windy that a lot of the photographs were like this of my face. So anyway. One of the other things that I took with me to the Yorkshire Yarn Fest was these mini skein sets. So usually there's always a theme. The virtual Yorkshire Yarn Fest, if you don't know, happens every month, once a month. And usually there's a theme for dyers that you can opt in or out. You don't have to do it every month. But this month's theme was emerald. So I dyed up this gorgeous dark green. And then you might recognise some of them. This one is the Midsummer colourway from last year, an amethyst. And I just thought it would be nice to put all 6 of the themed yarns together, and I think they would work well in a project. So I will have those available come summertime too. So it was a busy few weeks prepping for the Yorkshire Yarn Fest and taking down some new stock and these Shoormil kits. However, just to add to the chaos beforehand, I also had the May treat box to prepare. I'll show you a picture. I will do a video reveal of the box like I did last month, but this is the Kingfisher that inspired the May treat box colourway. And as vivid and as beautiful as turquoise and orange are in nature, not so much in a dye pan. So if you think about it, if you mix bright blue and bright orange together, if you let those colours merge, you're going to get the perfect shade of mud. And for my kind of dyeing style, I quite like when those colours blend, but this just didn't work at all. I was not happy with it. So I went for a really highly speckled yarn, which means that the colours strike and set as quick as they hit the yarn. And that keeps the colours really bright and vivid and sharp, and that's what I really like. So the May treat box was inspired by this little guy, the Kingfisher. The image was taken by a local photographer, Ron McDonald, and he very kindly let me use the image for these stickers and also to inspire the colourway. So let's open up. So in here I've got a little thank you letter and a little bit about the inspiration behind the yarn, and then a list of all of the businesses that I've used to put the box together. I have opened this one already. So let's have a look. So the yarn, first of all, it's this gorgeous, highly speckled turquoise with orange specks through it. So it's going to make up into a really interesting knit. You're not going to know what colour comes next. I have got some open skeins of it here so that you can see the speckles in a bit more detail. Really pretty. Anyway, what else did we get in the box? Sorry, this is a little crumpled. This is amazing fudge from Julie at Fudge Like. This is probably one of the most requested items in the treat box. They quite often feature in the advent calendars and things, but it's just melt in the mouth fudge. So everyone got a packet of that. I also included these felt craft kits from Hawthorne Handmade, and I thought that might be a nice summery project, a bumblebee brooch. So you get everything that you need in the box. I then included a little friendship bracelet, which I made just using some of the colours in a kingfisher. We've got tonic water. This one is mint and cucumber from Walter Gregor's. And people who've had the treat box for a while might recognise they're the same people behind Summer House Drinks, and I've included some of their local produce previously. It's lovely too, and it's made just up the road from us, not far at all. And then finally, just a little eucalyptus wool wash. Thank you to all of you who gave some lovely feedback on that box. I loved putting those together. It's once every 2 months normally. However, I'm taking a break over July and they'll start up again in September. So there'll be a box at the end of September and I'll be sure to tell you all about when they become available. So on to projects and what I've been working on. I should probably share the one that I'm wearing. This is called the Soufflé Tee and it's by Penrose Knits. And I'll admit it's completely inspired by Lauren Knits, who is a local girl who knits loads and just a lovely person. And she also has a podcast too, which I'll pop a link to in here. Lauren knitted hers in a beautiful pink colour. And I just thought, oh, that's absolutely stunning. I love mohair, love working with it. And I chose to do mine in this colourway called lilac. And I think I used probably 125 grams, not quite 3 skeins, 2.5 skeins, and I made it a little bit longer. The pattern did say that it was quite cropped, so I added a few extra inches, and it's got this lovely like folded hem, like a double hem. So it's got that on the sleeves, and then it's got that at the bottom, so it sits really nicely, and then this I-cord edge along the top is added at the end, and it just really finishes it off nicely. So today is the first day that I've worn it, and I would highly recommend that pattern. Really enjoyed knitting it. Since I finished doing this one, I wasn't ready to dive into anything too big, so the other day I decided to cast on these little baby socks. Now they're so cute, they're adorable. It's called the Perfect Newborn Socks, and the pattern is by Hey Sister Yarn Co. And I knitted these for a friend who, there's an end that's come loose there. I knitted these for a friend who's expecting 2 grandbabies, so the second pair will need to be done soon. And just adorable. I think I probably used less than 10 grams, so great for scrappy project too. The only thing I would say is that because they're on such a small circumference, I had to use double pointed needles. It's not my preferred way to knit socks. I prefer a short circular, but it's just too small to get round a short circular. So I use the double pointed needles, and I usually refer to that as knitting with a hedgehog. However, it's like knitting with a hedgehog and a kitten. So those of you who follow me on social media will have met Gizmo already. He is our new addition to the family. Like, we don't have enough going on already. But yeah, Gizmo was the surprise addition that my husband went and collected while I was at Yorkshire Yarn Fest. He sent me a picture of the kids playing with a kitten saying, sorry. But it's safe to say, as irresponsible as that sounds, it's safe to say we've all fallen head over heels in love with him, and he's just been lovely. So he's keeping me on my toes. loves a ball of yarn, so that's going to have to stop. And I would like to assure everybody the kitten will be nowhere near these yarns, definitely not, and will be kept completely separate from any yarn production going on. I just wanted to put that out there. I know that cats and cat hair in particular, can cause allergies and things like that. So Gizmo will be kept separated. One of the other purchases that I made recently, I never shared the yarn actually. So the yarn for this was by Sable yarns, which is a company run by Jill, and the colourway is called The Rest is Drag. It was a yarn that I bought from Jill years ago, I think at Aberdeen Yarn Fest, and Jill does some lovely self-striping yarns, so you might want to go check her out. Right, the next yarny purchase though. I treated myself to the collab box that Verity from Truly Hooked organised with James Makes, and these are the yarns. They are wound up. I don't have them in the skein to show you. I might have a picture. If I do, I'll add it later. But just beautiful. Look at these colours. Such fun. So I cast on with this one. I initially thought I was going to just stripe these two. So it was 2 50-gram skeins I went for. And I was going to just do maybe a simple helical knit sock. But when I fell down the rabbit hole of Ravelry, I discovered this pattern, and I think it's really striking. So I ended up pairing the more neon one with a colourway called Midnight that I dyed, and the pattern for this, it's a sock, and the pattern is called Fly My Butterfly. I'm going to spell out below the name of the designer. It's a lady called Isabel. I think she's perhaps French, but she does some beautiful patterns, a lot of them free as well, so well worth checking out. And I loved this. What particularly drew me was this corrugated ribbing, which I like for the cuff. And then it's got these little strands that you hold this yarn forward and then pick up a stitch as you knit it, and it creates this little butterfly effect. Really effective, really pretty, so I'm going to keep going with those. I cast that on last night during our craft night Zoom, so hopefully I'll have more of that to show you. I always like to have a sock on the go, even if it's alongside another larger project, but nothing really planned at the moment. I've done a fair few big-ish projects, but I've really been getting into sewing a little bit more. I love dressmaking, and I just never seem to have the time for it, so this is probably a good opportunity for me to sew a little bit more. And I've got a couple of sewy projects, both incomplete, but I thought you might like to see them nonetheless. So the first one is a pattern that I've done before for my son. It's called the Thomas shirt, and it's by Felicity Patterns. I bought it on Etsy, I think. So it's a collared shirt. I've still got the sleeves and the side seams to do, and it's got this lovely yoke panel, and it was the fabric that my son loved the most. I love it too. It was from M is for Make, the shark fabric. So we're getting there. I'm trying to involve him in this process too, but he's not overly keen. He's keen for the first 5 minutes, and then it's left to me. So we've got that to finish off over the next couple of weeks. And then the other one I'm going to show is a McCall's pattern. I think I maybe showed you this the last time. And this was going to be for an event that I was at last weekend, but it didn't happen. So I really took my time with it. I was initially planning on doing this dropped hem one, but I didn't. I decided to go for the longer length and keep it even. And I really took my time with it. It's beautiful viscose crepe fabric that I bought from Minerva Crafts. So you can see it's all crumpled because it's been in the naughty pile. But it drapes beautifully, and it was lovely to work with. A little bit slidey maybe. Let me see if I can work out which way round it goes. But the problem I had was with the zip. The straps cross over, so that's the front V like this, and then the straps cross over at the back, but it's about 2 inches too big. So I'm not quite sure what went wrong there. I even had a practice as well, so I'm a little bit annoyed at myself. I've clearly done something wrong, and I've lined it and everything, so it needs to be unpicked, and I think it needs to be done at a time where I'm not as stressed and annoyed at myself, shall we say. Does anyone else get like that? You know, with a project, you're just like, enough, I need to stop and I need to walk away from it. So I'm going to leave it for a little while. And to be fair, I don't have any events that I could be wearing it to, but I will finish it at some point. It just needs to go back to the drawing board. And as I say, that fabric is too lovely to not work on it properly. I'm going to take all the lining out and recut the back of the bodice. I've said it now. I have to stick to it. But I'm going to give it a go. And, you know, dressmaking is sometimes about being patient and taking your time and enjoying the process. It's not necessarily about having the finished item. I feel that way about my knitting as well. For me, it's the process of knitting, and the item at the end is just the bonus. And I don't think I work well where on the morning of the event that you're going to be wearing the dress to, it's all not, you know, a zip has gone in maybe 6 times and it not be right. I don't work well under that kind of pressure. So that's why it got set aside. So yeah, I've really been enjoying sewing a little bit more and taking the time out to do that. The only other projects that I have to show you, and I'm annoyed that I don't have the ends sewn in on this yet, but I'm sure you won't mind. This is a crochet bag that I have been working on for the last couple of months. I love a granny square, and there's lots of this in the shops just now as well. So I decided to make, I'm showing you the side that has the sewn in ends. It's just got this raised up flower. I just made this pattern up, and I think what I'll do is write up the pattern for the granny square and send it out as a free pattern. So if you're not already on the newsletter, go and sign yourself up and you'll get a free pattern for the granny square. Because I've joined all of these crochet squares together, I don't think I could be like 100% accurate in writing up the pattern for the edges. I kind of just, with my crochet, I just bodge it and make it work. So I used a little linen stitch along the sides, and I just picked random colours for that, but really summery, and hopefully I'll be able to use that on a beach at some point this year. But here's the other side. Unfinished and all the ends still to go. So I'll sit and do that one night. That's actually a good thing to sit and do during a Zoom, isn't it? An online kind of thing. So because I've been sewing a little bit more, therefore the fabric buying starts up again. I have been really good. I hadn't bought any fabric in a long time, apart from that viscose crepe. And when it came as beautiful and drapey as it was, I wondered whether it was maybe a little bit too plain. So I decided to order something else and treat myself. And I ordered this fabric from Spoonflower. Now it's really wild and out there. It's an abstract flora design, and it's by MJM Studio, or Jacqueline Maldonado. It's a beautiful design. I just thought it was really striking and gorgeous for a summer dress of some kind. Not quite sure what pattern yet, so if you've got any suggestions, let me know. And it's the cotton lawn from Spoonflower, which is really lovely. It's going to be a nice one to sew as well. Cotton lawn is so crisp, and you get such a beautiful effect with it. So I'm looking forward to working on something with that, maybe for summertime. So I thought it would be a good idea to tell you about what is upcoming over the next little while. And I am excited to say that I'll be at another show on Friday the 1st of July up in Drumnadrochit. Now it's an event run by Dwinwyn Hopcroft from Loch Ness Knit and also Helen from Ripples Crafts. It's a small but select group. of lovely creative people in Scotland, and I think it's going to be a really nice event. We're calling it Meet the Maker. It came about because there was going to be a craft cruise coming into Inverness, and they were going to visit Drumnadrochit. However, that's not going ahead now, but we decided to go ahead with the event regardless. And there's going to be a series of events throughout the summer so that you can meet these talented creative people in the Highlands. So I'm looking forward to being at the one on the 1st of July. I'm not 100% sure whether I'll manage the other events yet, but I'll let you all know, obviously. The only other one that I've got coming up after the kids' summer holidays is Wool at Portsoy, which is on the 27th of August, and I'll share the details of that on here. Portsoy is a little fishing village that is just north of Aberdeenshire, so it's local-ish for me. It's probably maybe an hour away, not too far, and a lovely, friendly, welcoming event. So hopefully I will catch you at one of those. And if not, if you're too far away for that kind of thing, I will continue to keep podcasting and sharing all of my crafty pieces with you all. So thank you all for watching, and take care, everyone. See you soon.